Hi everybody, I am Jim Wanzeck with RE/MAX Masters Millennium, and we are here at 6020 Greenwood Plaza Boulevard in our Mount Albert studio. Today we're excited to interview Jeane Dole, and she is the principal of A La Carte Designs. And welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, it's exciting to interview people that are in our industry to get that perspective of how you deal with our clients and customers. So really excited here today.
Good times.
Yes, it is good times. So tell us a little bit about your background first and you know, where you live and that kind of stuff. And then we'll kind of get into the heart of what you do.
Very good. Well, I live in Greenwood Village, so not very far from the studio here,
Okay.
which is exciting. And I have had my interior design business for 20 years.
Okay.
I came from a corporate background, but was not entirely fulfilled in that and went
Okay.
back to school for interior design and have been doing that ever since.
Yes.
And never looked back. I really enjoy working in the residential sector with homeowners.
Okay, so particularly residential.
Yes.
And just tell us about, okay, how do you start with clients just to get acquainted?
You know, I meet with clients actually for the first time at no charge to them because I think it's really important to try to establish a relationship with them where they feel good about who they might be working with, that they feel that they could have a level of trust of working with me, because you do learn a lot about their lives.
Right.
And how they live in their home, what their family does or what's important to them. And it's important that whatever you design for them then fills those needs.
Right.
And yet also reflects them in a way that they have the vision of being reflected as. You know, they have a vision in their head of what they want their home to look like.
Right.
They just can't always get that there on their own.
So, you know, is it something that people usually more when they just buy a house or when they're getting ready to sell? How do they, you know, when they come by you?
Well, it's kind of across the board. It's probably a little less likely when they're getting ready to sell,
Okay.
although I don't really do a lot of it now, but in the past I have done a lot of real estate staging. So I have been in that process of when they're getting ready to sell. But I'm probably more involved with them when they're either looking to buy something and they like the bones of the house,
Sure.
but maybe they're wanting to make some adaptations for them.
Okay.
Or they've lived in it for a while and it's just time to make those changes, to
Right.
update it, to
Right.
really serve their needs, but also just update it kind of because sometimes things look a little older, a little more tired,
Yeah.
and it's time to change.
Well, you know, that's pretty exciting because I think today people are having to accept homes with good bones,
Yes.
but they don't fit their real needs because there's such lack of inventory.
Yes, yeah.
So that's pretty exciting that you can kind of come in and then transform that good bones to their home.
It is helpful to them because it's also, as you might imagine, it's a huge investment. And so the stakes are pretty high that if they don't make good decisions, it's still going to cost them a lot of money. And
Okay.
it really is unfortunate if they get to the end of it and they think, oh, I could have done that, or this should have been done differently.
Right.
It's really important for them, I think, to have the guidance of a professional so that they can get the most value out of whatever changes they make.
Okay, because I know that you also are kind of like more of a full service because you have contractors that you can recommend and people that have already vetted for, you know, making sure that they do things right, which
Yes.
is important today.
Absolutely, it is.
Yes.
It's hugely important. I think that's another point of nervousness and stress for homeowners is not only how do I pick the right finishes and materials that will look good, but how do I pick the right people to implement all of that so
Okay.
it's done properly and I know they can be trusted to be in my home because
Right.
they're not there every day while we're doing the work for them.
Okay, because you know what I see in Denver is there's not a lot of choices. You know, okay, you got the Home Depot and you can go to Jake Jabs. I mean, kind of tell us a little bit about the process that you bring to the table.
Oh my goodness. There is such a much larger spectrum
Okay.
than that.
Okay, good.
So, and people always ask me where I shop, but the problem is there isn't one place. There are lots of different places to shop. There are different price points. There are different quality issues that need to be considered that the consumer on their own may not be aware of.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily someone who, I mean, I do purchase things from the design center, but that's not the only place to
Sure.
purchase things.
Okay.
And so you have to be kind of conscious of your individual homeowner and what's going to fit in their budget.
Okay.
Everyone has one. I don't care
Right.
how high the budget is. There's a limit to how much they want to spend.
Okay, so what kind of size projects, and I'm not talking about, what's about, is it a $40,000, is it $100,000, kind of what is your average, and I know it's very different because you said everybody has a budget, but tell us a little bit about, when do you really think that it's economical for you to get involved in that?
Well, that's a loaded question,
I know,
Jim.
but I always have
because
loaded questions.
yeah. Because I can work with people in different ways.
Okay.
I can work with, when I do a lot of kitchens and baths or whole house renovations where I'm doing a lot of interior space planning to change it all up,
Okay.
I might put together fixed pricing for the client for my services.
All right.
So they
Good.
have an idea of where I stop and
Yeah.
the rest of the money begins.
Okay.
If there's kind of a smattering in one room and, so maybe a window treatment here, a light fixture over here, a tile change or something like that, then I might charge them hourly because I really don't know how long that's going to take.
Okay.
I can also work with them on a basis of where they might say, you know what, I'd like to work with you for X number of hours.
Okay.
Let's see how far we can get.
Okay, that's awesome.
The good news is I have clients where maybe we're just doing one project and maybe I never work with them again. And then I have clients where they kind of have a list of projects, which, as you know, homeowners always have a list of projects.
Right.
And I might come every year. We might be working on a project.
Okay.
And so not all work in a home is interdependent. So we might be able to, do one project and then the next year we take on something else. So we're
Okay.
chipping away at
Okay.
making the house what they want.
All right. So does it get as extensive as moving walls and kind of rearranging the interior?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of my projects involve that.
Okay.
As I referenced, interior space planning is really planning out the space and making changes where you think it's going to improve the flow of the house.
Okay.
Maybe make it more open. A lot of older homes may not be as open as the homeowner or home buying public wants it to be now.
Uh-huh.
And so if we can make some of those changes, it used to be one person was stuck in the kitchen and everybody else is out in the living room interacting with each other. Well, the kitchen is now maybe the place where everybody gathers.
Right.
That's been for some time, of course, but not all homes facilitate that.
Sure.
So you need to make some changes.
Okay.
And if I need to bring in a structural engineer so that that person can confirm that this wall is not going to be a problem to move,
Right.
I have a pretty good idea
Exactly.
what can
Yeah.
be moved and what can't. But you always want to have that confirmation. I don't want to get someone excited about a design if I can't make that happen for
Right.
them.
Yeah. Okay.
But usually we can, and it's very exciting.
I was in a house last night that was a Frank Lloyd Wright design. It
Oh,
was
fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
But the kitchen was very expensive European cabinets, but the oven and it had a built-in coffee maker and a microwave, and the oven, you couldn't even put a turkey in there. And today, thinking about, what we're
Yes.
dealing with, my goodness.
Yes.
So do you get involved with, kind of changing all that so that it has all the functionality of a kitchen too?
Absolutely.
We don't have to go out and hire a new kitchen designer. You would handle that
I
too?
handle that.
Awesome.
One of my specialties that I reference is I specialize in kitchens that cook even if you don't. I don't cook. My
Okay.
husband does.
All right.
But everybody kind of wants to have a great looking kitchen and
Yeah.
a great functioning
Yeah,
kitchen,
absolutely.
because as you know, it does add value to the home.
Yeah.
It's one of the main spaces that does, so you do want to get it right.
Well, some of the older homes that have evolved over the years, and they don't have the tall ceilings, and we really got to look at that kind of thing, because really people like location. They like being downtown, but they just sometimes don't get the functionality of a newer home, and so that's got to be really a big challenge for you.
It is, and then there's also the balancing of spaces, because I've seen homes that have been done where it's got an updated kitchen, but the kitchen the footprint of the kitchen is too big by comparison to the rest of the house.
Okay.
So where am I going to sit with my friends after I've prepared something in the kitchen?
Okay.
And maybe we overdid the size of the kitchen, and maybe it didn't need to be that big.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, it's
So,
all balancing.
I think that's a really great point, that because I see a lot of that in where, okay, let's just take care of the kitchen and the master bedroom, and then everybody else suffers for that.
Yeah, they think to themselves, and they make a good point, is yes, kitchens sell, but let's not get carried away. You've got to
Okay.
live in the rest of the
Wow.
house. So
Yes.
there needs to be
Okay.
appropriate allocation for those other spaces as well.
All right. So tell me about like areas. Do you go from Castle Rock to Boulder, or do you just kind of stay in Greenwood Village? What's your really target? I know probably one to not have to travel too far, but
Of course. Yeah, I don't like to travel too far, but it really is the metro area. And I've
Okay.
done I'm working on a couple kitchens right now in Genesee.
Okay.
So, it
Good.
kind of depends on the size of the project as
Sure.
well. But I do, of course, prefer to be closer to home. It isn't some of that is just because I like to be fairly accessible when we're in the implementation phase,
Okay.
that I'm not there every day, but I like to be able to go there if they need me to answer a question. Particularly in remodeling,
Okay.
you don't know what you're going to uncover.
Right.
And so sometimes we need a plan B.
Okay.
And I guess controllingly consider that a design decision. And the
Okay.
reason I consider it a design decision is because yes, whatever is inside that wall has to work. It might be something mechanical more than likely. So that has to work, but when you close it up, what you're left with is the aesthetics.
Sure.
And so I want to be there as a part of that decision making.
Okay.
Or sometimes we've discussed things early on in the project with the contractor, and now we're at the point of implementing that piece,
Wow.
and they need a reminder, and so I need to be able to be there to review that.
Okay.
And so, of course, ease of proximity is much better.
Sure.
But
Hey.
I'll go where I need to go to make sure we get it done correctly.
Well, that's fantastic. So how would somebody get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Best way is to call me or text me at 303-885-7706.
Okay. And email address?
JT as in Tom, Dole, that's like the pineapple, at alacartedesign.com.
Wow, that's fantastic. You got about everything, and we've kind of gone over some really neat things. And I hope the agents get to know you a little bit better, because you're a sponsor in our buyer and seller guide, which we really thank you for that. And we're getting that out here pretty quick. So really wanted to thank you very much for being a sponsor and working with us, because we are a full-service real estate company that wants to work with professionals like you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, our pleasure. Hey, you guys, I think you've really learned a little bit about Jeane and her company, so we're excited about that. So tune in next time. It's Jim Wanzeck with RE/MAX Masters Millennium. Thanks for being here.